If Mr. Eddie Johnson will give our invocation.
You bow your heads, please. God, our Father, creator of all good things in the world and within our school community, we thank you for the gift of this day, for our families and friends, and for this safe place to learn and grow and prosper. We pray in your name. Amen. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have special recognition.
Testing 1, 2. We do, Madam Chairman, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Tonight we are recognizing 3 students from Herd Mixon Elementary School who recently received statewide recognition for posters they created as part of a contest sponsored by the Georgia Insurance and Fire Safety Commissioner and the Georgia Fire Sprinkler Association. The contest was open to all Georgia elementary school students in grades K through 5. Students were asked to create poster entries emphasizing this year's theme, Have 2 Ways Out, or one of 12 fire safety tips. Winners have their artwork featured on the cover and the 12 monthly pages in the Georgia 2013 Fire Safety Calendar. Put another way, of the 13 winners, 3 were from Newton County School System, and all 3 were from Herd Mixon Elementary School. Let's give Herd Mixon a round of applause. First, I'd like to call up fifth grader Sarah Kessler. Sarah, come forward, please. Are you here? Sarah's not here, but let me say that Sarah's artwork was featured for the month of January with the safety tip, give space heaters some space. Congratulations to Sarah. Next, I'd like to call up Zachary McFarland. Zachary? Zachary's artwork was chosen for the month of March and displays the safety tip, matches and lighters are tools, not toys. Congratulations, Zach. Finally, I'd like to ask, as we get Zach's picture taken here, I'd like to ask Shernila Simmons to come forward. Shernila, are you here? She's not here. Well, let me say this about her work. Her poster was chosen to represent the month of May with the safety tip, if your clothes catch fire, you should stop, drop, and roll. Congratulations to Shernila. In addition to having their artwork featured on the calendar, Sarah, Zachary, and Shernila, along with their art teacher, Mr. Spencer Pickens, had the opportunity to attend the Excellence in Fire Safety Awards Luncheon at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth, Georgia. While there, they had the opportunity to meet Insurance and Fire Safety Commissioner Ralph T. Hudgens. Congratulations to each of you on a job well done. I think their principal, Marquita Wilkins, Ms. Wilkins, wave at it. It's back in the back. Would agree that these 3 students represented Herd Mixon in our county schools extremely well. Congratulations and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any public participation?
We have none tonight.
Okay. I need to motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Dr. Matthews, Superintendent's reports.
Yes, our financial report, Ms. Bullard. Our business manager, Peggy Bullard.
For January, our tax revenues have leveled off with 87.63% collected versus 92.38 last year. I don't think we'll get the $3 million windfall that we got last year, but I do expect us to collect a little more, as we budgeted 95% collections and we'll probably do better than that. Expenditures are at 57.24%. That looks better than last year, as we say each month, because last year we were forward funding the health insurance plan. Also, we expect May and June for expenditures to pick up because we have $1.2 million to spend on textbooks, and they'll be doing that this spring, and then we'll have maintenance projects going on in June as soon as the schools are cleaned out. SPLOS collections, we received a distribution of $1,023,964. We generally get over $1 million in January. That's the December Christmas sales. So, and so that is our let's see, 10 straight months of collections over 900,000. So we're averaging 923,000 for the last straight 10 months. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Operations report? Mr. Ball? Oh.
Pardon me, Ms. Davis Vineyard. Shernila, is Shernila here? Is it Shernila or Shanila? Shernila, I thought I was right. Point of order, may we interrupt the meeting at this point? Thank you very much. Shernila, would you come forward, please? Well, let me say what you missed earlier. I'm glad you can make it, so come on in. Shernila Simmons, her poster was chosen to represent the month of May with the safety tip, if your clothes catch fire, you should stop, drop, and roll. Congratulations, young lady. We're very proud of you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing her, Mom. Thank you so much. I know you're very proud. We are too. Mr. Barr.
Good evening. In the operations report, I just want to highlight a few things. Capital projects, the NHS replacement project is going very well. As of February 5, McKnight Construction reported that overhead plumbing and electrical work is finished with approximately 99% of the above ceiling punch list complete. HVAC work is ongoing, heat is circulating in the building, and we're putting VCT flooring down at this time. Overall, the project is approximately 86% complete and on schedule. Student transportation, something that we're monitoring very closely, is the price of fuel, like you probably are at home. The average per gallon cost for diesel fuel purchased during January was $3.51. On the back page, school nutrition program, My Payments Plus revenues year to date for January 2013 were $389,411.60. This is a 5.4% increase over the same period in 2012. And that concludes the operations report.
All right. Any questions? I just have one. You're still working on dates?
We'll work on a new set of dates. Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is curriculum and instructional. I think Mr. Peck.
Good evening. Number one, under the Curriculum Instruction Technology Report, all principals and district office personnel attended a workshop led by Jay Wansley, Associate Director of Advanced Ed. Mr. Wansley explained the new district accreditation process. The district and schools must participate in internal review to be followed by an external review conducted by a team selected by Advanced Ed. The external review team will visit the Newton County School System March the 23rd through the 26th in 2014. Also, district office personnel have begun to meet with groups of elementary administrators and teachers to examine math texts for the math textbook adoption. Elementary administrators and teachers are reviewing each textbook to ensure the texts are aligned to the CCGPS and incorporate research-based strategies to teach the standards. Number 9, in our special ed department, on January 18th, Daphne Kofer and Jody Williams conducted professional learning for all MOID and SID-PID teachers on the Unique Learning System. The Unique Learning System is the web-based adaptive curriculum for students with significant cognitive disabilities. Teachers use the system to teach the Common Core standards. The system is differentiated in 3 levels to meet the needs of various learners and has a benchmarking and progress monitoring component. The workshop was conducted in 2 parts. The first part introduced the teachers to the system and demonstrated how to use the system. The second part focused on how to develop lessons and activities with the tools found in the system. Number 17, on January the 15th, Fairview Elementary School hosted their CRCT OAS night, which provided information for parents addressing what to expect on the CRCT. An explanation of the test design, type of test questions, and how to prepare your child to take the test was shared. Students also performed songs, cheers, and skits related to testing. Dr. Cobb closed the event by informing parents of the importance of meeting or exceeding standards on the CRCT and shared promotion retention requirements. Number 18, during the first semester, the technology department closed over 10,000 work orders in an average time to resolution of 3 days. There were 113 work orders closed every day for 89 days. The technicians are doing a fantastic job keeping the equipment functioning for our faculty, staff, and students. Finally, on Saturday, at the end of January, January 26th, the local competition for the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl was held at the Newton College and Career Academy. It was a great success. We had 500 people in attendance at the Porter Auditorium at Newton High School for the award ceremony. Of those 500, there were 190 participants representing 22 schools this year. In addition, there were 50 volunteers. The winners in each category will be competing in the South Metro Division competition at Clayton State University. The winners are, for the elementary school, our first place winner was Flint Hill. Second place was the Newton County Theme School. In our middle school, we had the first place was the Newton County Theme School, and second place was Cousins. For our high school, first place was Alcovey, and our second place was Newton High School. And that concludes the Curriculum Instruction and Technology Report for February.
Lee, one quick clarification on the. Can you hear me? Okay, now you can hear me. Was this strictly Newton County schools in number 20, or was it schools from different?
It was strictly Newton County.
It was strictly
schools.
us at this level.
It'll
Okay.
be the whole metro area at the South Metro Division competition at Clayton State.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No? All right, then I think we have a presentation from Ms. Fury.
And I might add a very important one, given SAC's accreditation in March of 14. So, ladies and gentlemen of the board, this is your official overview of what is going to happen.
So what my intent this evening will be is to familiarize you with the process that the Advanced Ed team now uses for district accreditation. The visit will be, this is a different clicker, March 23rd through the 26th of 2014. So we're just ahead of a year out before the external review team will come and visit and examine our schools and look for evidence that we meet the standards outlined for us by Advanced Ed. As you know, 5 years ago we underwent a district accreditation, and there were some recommendations made by at that time they were called the Quality Assurance Review Team. They've changed their terminology a bit, so I want to make sure you're familiar with that as well. The recommendations were as follows. Evaluate the effectiveness and impact of the continuous improvement process, engage in a visioning process, construct a protocol and schedule for program evaluation, and then engage in a systematic audit of board policies. So immediately following the visit in 2008, the board underwent their internal review of policies, and we're in the process of completing that process, the process of completing the work with GSBA, as you well know, and I believe we'll finish that up on the 26th of February. The one area that we still have work to do is in this area, creating a vision for the system. We use the mission of the system, and we tried to use it in a dual purpose, as the mission and the vision, to provide educational excellence for all students. And the recommendation was that we create a different vision statement. So the work in that area has begun, and we are working closely with the schools to identify information relative to what they think a vision would be, and they're in the process of submitting their ideas, and then we'll assemble a team, narrow the choices, and put it out for public consumption so that our community has an opportunity to reflect on our vision and make sure it matches the work that we do in the system. At the end of the second year, you have to write a response and submit it to Advanced Ed, and that was done, and we worked out everything that needed to be addressed and sent it on to them in 2010, that 10-11 school year. So tonight I just want to take you through the expectations and requirement of the new accreditation process, talk about the diagnostic tool used to promote meaningful self-assessment and improvement, and then make sure we all have an understanding that there are two distinct processes, the internal process and the external process. In order for us to be successful, we have to look at this, this visit by the, well, they'll be called the external review team. Look at their visit in a systematic approach. We need to look at it as a holistic system, making sure that all of our parts are functioning correctly and at optimal workload. We also need to demonstrate a strong sense of teamwork, both at the district and the school. The district needs to be working together, the schools need to be working together, and then there needs to be collaboration between both the district and the school. Obviously, we want to reflect a culture of learning, which I think all of our artifacts and evidence will substantiate that we are about learning. And then ensure that we provide a systematic and responsive continuous improvement at all levels. So the new protocol is a performance-based model that employs the diagnostic tools that enable the system to conduct an internal review. So we've begun that work already, and what you'll see is in the internal review, we'll be looking at the standards, the Advanced Ed standards and their indicators, student performance data, stakeholder feedback, and we're getting ready to administer surveys in March, and then once we get the data from these surveys, we'll re-administer those surveys in October as we develop our school improvement plans in that October-November window to sort of check to see how we're doing based on the feedback that we receive from those surveys. Again, it's a parallel process. What the system is doing, the schools will be modeling. In the past, in that 2008 view, when the 2008 review, when the Quality Assurance Review Team came here, it was very important what was going on at the district level, and the schools were not having to replicate that effort. They went and visited the schools, but the district did the lion's share of the work. Here, everything the system does, the school must do as well. So it's a very different methodology. There are 5 standards. There used to be 7, and at one time there were 10, and probably before that there were even more, but they've reduced the number of standards so that we could focus wholly on what's going on in the classrooms, the learning environment, and less time on writing narratives and having the Quality Assurance Review Team or the external review team writing narratives. So we've reduced the numbers to standard 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, focusing on purpose and direction, governance and leadership, teaching and assessing for learning, resources and support systems, and using results for continued improvement. There are a set of system expectations. We would expect that our system meet the Advanced Ed accreditation standards for quality systems, and that's just what the standards define for us. We would obviously implement a systemic continuous improvement process, and then conduct an internal review. And the parts of the internal review are outlined here. There's an executive summary, a standard self-assessment, a stakeholder feedback diagnostic, and so we're looking at system level analysis, student performance diagnostic, system level analysis, an improvement plan, and then assurances. And the assurances are just yes or no statements that we have to look to make sure that we can answer yes to all of the assurances. And in the event that we have to answer no, we would prepare a written statement about why we're unable to assure that we are doing the things that are required. At the same time, schools have expectations, and the difference is just that it's quality schools as opposed to quality districts, and they have similar standards, a few less than the district does, but we're working from actually the same standards, just the indicators will be fewer. And then they also have to, at a school level, implement a continuous improvement process, and they too will need to conduct an internal review. which is composed of these same parts again. Noticing that the assurances at the school level are 5, at the district there are 6. The other thing that they'll have to do at the school level is participate in our external review and then support our efforts as a district to respond to required actions. And if you'll focus on these words, required actions, if you'll reflect back to my initial slide when I was talking about the review we underwent 5 years ago, they gave us a set of recommendations, and recommendations implies that we don't have to do it. And so apparently some folks were not following their recommendations, so the wording has been adjusted to reflect required actions. And each of the external review teams are required to assign at least one required action. So they're looking at all of our things and all of our details and all of our information and trying to provide support and help us move further down the line of continuous improvement. Let's see. So these are the parts of the internal review just laid out a little bit differently. The self-assessment we'll be using on a scale of 1 to 4, looking at each indicator and identifying where you fall as a school on, say, standard 1, indicator 1. Where are you? A 4 meaning excellent, or a 3 meaning average, and so on and so forth. And there's a very distinct process that you use for self-assessment. Improvement plans, the schools all have improvement plans, and as does the district. Looking at the data, stakeholder feedback, the executive summary, and the assurances. More detail about the internal review, just kind of outlining what each part entails. So the executive summary is your general overview, and it includes all of this demographic information as well. The self-assessment, just what does that mean? It's a thoughtful and deliberate reflection on your current status. So where are you as it relates to the indicators? The assurances are the policy and procedure statements. There are 6 at the district and 5 at each school. Student performance, the analysis of results over time, and then the status, where are you with your status and improvement on those results? And then the stakeholder performance and the analysis of the feedback. And finally, the improvement plans, the alignment of improvement goals with the diagnostic results. Assist, and at the very beginning I mentioned the tool that Advanced Ed now uses. It's a web-based tool where we enter all of our information, and it stands for, ASSIST stands for Adaptive System of School Improvement Support Tools. And this is where we put in all of our narratives, our information about our indicators. The survey results, we'll send out our surveys, and then all the data is captured in ASSIST. And these next bullets just give you an idea of what ASSIST is designed to do. So this really puts it in perspective as far as the parallel process, the following information. What you see on the left hand side of the screen is the district's actions. So the district has already begun this work. The district has assigned standard chairs. So there are 5 standards. We have 5 chairs at the district level who are responsible to conduct meetings with the school chairs. So the district has, say, standard 1, and every school will have a school chair that represents standard 1. So at the end of the day, we'll have 24 standard 1 chairs, et cetera, et cetera. Then task chairs, the executive summaries and analyzing the performance data, all of those are what we call tasks, and that's probably unique to the Newton County school system. This is not necessarily an advanced ed lingo, but we were trying to make sure that we address everything that's required of us. So the executive summary is a good example of a task. Somebody's got to do it. So at the district level, Sherry Vineyard is responsible for the district's executive summary, and Sherry will meet with the school level counterparts to make sure that their executive summaries contain all of the information that's necessary, as well as they provide her information to compile the district's executive summary. The district is responsible for creating and organizing surveys. And then this piece here is the organizational structure. We have to organize the data such that the team can have access to it. And Dr. Matthews and Mr. Peck and Dr. Thomas and I went to an advanced ed conference, and one of the tips that we took away was that although we may think the only way you need to provide it to the review team is electronically, from other folks' experiences, it's probably a good idea to give them paper, put it on a jump drive, and put the information on a website so that the team can access the data in multiple ways. Outside of the pieces of paper, if that's the way they want to see it and we don't have it on hand, then we'll have to hurry to pull it together while they're here. And rather than go through that, we've given everybody multiple blue boxes, and inside those blue boxes are the standards and folders for everything to be laid out. It's very well organized. Dr. Thomas organized and put everything together in a very highly structured manner. The schools, as you'll see here, just mirror the work from the district. So they'll assign, each school has already assigned their folks to the standards chairs, and then those chairs meet with their school teams to look at their standards specifically. And of course, they will have their task chairs, and they meet with their school task teams. But all of these groups work this way, parallel and going across. They will actually administer the surveys and then, of course, collect their data in the same manner so that everything that the review team needs is right there at their fingertips. The parts of the external review, they'll look at the standards, the indicators, the evaluation of evidence. They really harp on this evaluation of evidence, making sure that whatever we put in our boxes on our jump drives and on SharePoint, that is very high quality evidence. The team will have a lot of dialogue and deliberation about where we fall. They too will be rating our indicators, what their assessment is based on the interviews that are provided, that occur, and the physical evidence that we have. And then they will communicate their results. Here's something that's new, this classroom observation piece. Used to be, many moons ago, that the advanced ed team, the SACS teams as they were called, would come into your building and kind of look at your light fixtures to make sure there was no dust, make sure the restrooms were organized, and then they would look at the instructional programs. Because they have changed their mode of operation, they intend to spend most of their time in classroom observations, not looking at teachers, but instead looking at the learning environment. And so they will, once they get here, we don't know what schools they'll go to, so all schools must be prepared. And they will visit multiple schools over the days that they are here, looking for and observing classrooms to identify how the students are engaged in the learning in each of our classrooms. They have a specific instrument, and I'll talk to you about that right now. It's called the Elliott, and it stands for, it's an acronym that stands for Effective Learning Environment Observation Tool. And this instrument focuses on the learning and the learning environment, not so much the classroom teacher. So they're going to be looking for, and a good example would be, the teachers, I'm using technology right now. If they were to walk into the classroom, everybody in this room would be just an active participant by listening. And in order for me to have them score the use of technology a 4, what would need to happen is they would need to be interacting with the technology. It's about the environment, not about the instructor. So that's a switch. And we've engaged in some activities with our teachers already, looking at this instrument, since it is a bit different than what we use via a walkthrough or the Georgia Teacher observation instrument. And then again, in this external review, they'll conduct interviews. They'll do their observations, they'll study the artifacts, they're looking for quality and also relevance of the materials that are provided. And then they go away from here every day and deliberate and have dialogue about what took place. And I'm fortunate to be participating in an upcoming visit. I'm the co-leader on a team for Habersham County, and one of the things that I'm really excited about is we've engaged in the GAPS process over the last several years, and it really feels very similar. This new process sort of mirrors what the GAPS do when we go to our internally going to schools and visiting. So I'm really excited about what they'll see as they come, because I think we're pretty well prepared as far as the layout is concerned. Then they will communicate with an exit report. In the past, they've come to a call board meeting, and then they outline what their report says. They will not do that. They'll give us feedback about where they are. They send their report off, and then 30 to 60 days later, we'll get our designation, whether we're accredited or the multiple different sorts of accrediting statuses that we could have. In the written report, which will follow, so they'll address the standards, where we are, the learning environment, the feedback from stakeholders and student performance data, and then they will give us summary findings, and there's that word, that required actions, that we'll have to do something, whatever that may be, and then 2 years after their visit, follow up in writing explaining what exactly have we done to address their required actions. Finally, the Accreditation Commission grants the system accreditation status, and they do so in the following ways: accredited with excellence, distinction, accredited, accredited on advisement, accredited warn, accredited probation. And all schools will be given an organizational status of accredited. So what these little asterisks up here indicate, this will be effective for the 13-14 school year. So schools going through the process this year are not eligible for the excellence and distinction piece. And I'm waiting to hear back from Advanced Ed to tell us expressly what defines excellence, what defines distinction. All we know for sure is that we'll have these other possibilities. And then what will happen with the schools is that they will be given the accredited status, which is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. And the district is accredited, and by virtue of the district's accreditation, all of the schools are accredited. This is, the district will be accredited, and then each school will be given its official designation as accredited if the district is accredited and everybody meets the standards. They're not going to visit every single school. So let's just say, for example, they go to Samantha Fury's school, and for whatever reason, it's just, I'm not making the progress that is necessary. I don't believe that we have any of these schools, but just so you are aware of what could happen and what may happen, it won't happen in our district, but I just need you to know that a school could be listed as not accredited while all of the sister schools are accredited and the district is accredited. So it's a very different process than what we've experienced before. Now again, I don't expect that we'll have any of that going on where a school could be deemed not accredited, but I think it's important to point out that there is a significant difference in the way the accreditation process is laid out. So after they leave and they send us their reports, it's important to maintain. We have to respond, and then this is the accreditation progress report that I talked about that occurs 2 years after the visit. Then we just continue to self-reflect and improve. And the teams that we're establishing now, I hope to be able to continue those teams in the future so that the visit 5 years from now will be just a mere action as opposed to getting ready. We'll be getting ready for 5 years in preparation. And we will focus on monitoring and adjusting instructional organizational practices, sustain a culture that supports continuous improvement, keep our stakeholders motivated and involved. And that is it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I may have missed it. You mentioned that they would not visit every school, correct?
No, sir.
Will their visitation establish whether that school is accredited or not?
What will happen is they'll select schools to visit where they'll go and look at all the information and evidence, but by virtue of the district having the status of accredited, then each of its schools are awarded that status as well. So if they don't visit a school, that doesn't mean that they will not be accredited. They are accredited still under the district umbrella, as I understand it.
Right, but what I understood you say that one school may be visited and may not be accredited.
Just say that Samantha Fury School, if you were to come to my school and let's just say that, I mean, things would have to be really topsy-turvy for someone to totally not be accredited. But let's just say you came in and as the review team and you found me sleeping at my desk or something crazy like that, they may say, oh my God, this school cannot be accredited. So the rest of the district would remain accredited, but they would write specific things that address me sleeping at my desk or, you know, whatever other things that may cause them to warrant a not accredited status. I really don't expect that to take place, and all of our schools are doing the right work. Sometimes the results they get, not necessarily what they wish for, but it's not because they're not working hard. It's not because they're not pointed in the right direction or implementing the things that they are to implement. Sometimes things happen, and so I don't expect us to walk out of this with a not accredited anywhere, not at a school, not at a district level. I feel really strongly about our performance as a school system.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your last statement was recorded.
What's that? That I feel really strongly about it?
Yes, right.
Absolutely do. We've been working hard, so I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the enrollment report. Mr. Peck.
Okay, this year we have currently 19,084 students. Last year we had 19,100, so we're down 16 students from last year, a difference of 16 students.
All right, questions?
Questions?
Yeah, I forget which school it is. I lost my memory here. But I think it's Clemens Middle School. We got 5 trailers outside. What are we doing? What are the planning to get those kids inside the school? Any? I guess this is a staff question more than an individual question.
They're not, they may have trailers, but I'm not aware that they're using
Using them right.
Are you guys? They may have, maybe they have set them up, but we're not aware that they're using trailers the whole class.
I don't think they are.
They're not at capacity,
We'll confirm.
so there would be any reason for them to be in a trailer.
Okay.
But if you know something, we'd be happy to check on it.
We'll check tomorrow, but I don't think they're being used.
Okay, thank you.
But we will check, just in case we don't know.
All right. Next is old business. Is it time to move to that?
Yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, Board, old business, letter A, requested board action relative to policies KM. That still remains on the table and will be taken up for a vote on February 26th.
Okay. Then we move on to new business, requested board action relative to Georgia DOT fee simple title Livingston Elementary. And this is Dr. Matthews.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. There's a resolution which we should air aloud if it's not too long here. Madam Chairman, would you or your designee please read the resolution?
Read it. Whereas in order to maintain the operations of the Newton County School District, the Newton County Board of Education has previously declared it was necessary to upgrade and remodel Livingston Elementary School in the western part of the county along State Highway number 81. And whereas in order to provide the improved ingress and egress access lanes for Livingston Elementary, the Georgia Department of Transportation has determined that Georgia Highway 81 must be widened along its eastern right-of-way. And whereas the Georgia Department of Transportation has also determined that in order to accomplish this widening and the granting of the improved access lanes to the Newton County Board of Education, the Board of Education must sell a strip of land consisting of .601 acres as described on Exhibit A attached hereto. And whereas the Georgia Department of Transportation has agreed to pay $11,600 for the said strip of land, and whereas the Newton County Board of Education does hereby declare that the .601 acres described in Exhibit A is unnecessary or inconvenient for the operation in the Newton County School District, all as provided in OCGA 22-520. Therefore, be it resolved that the Newton County Board of Education does hereby agree to sell the said .601 acres of the land to the Georgia Department of Transportation in return for the granting of improved access land along the eastern right-of-way of Georgia 81, and does hereby authorize the chairperson and superintendent of the Newton County Board of Education to execute any and all documents necessary to complete said sale. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So it passes. All right. Item B, I believe this is Ms. Bullard.
Ms. superintendent recommends that the Board of Education continue to use Pinnacle Bank as the provider of checking account services for the board. And as background, the board normally requests bids for banking services every 3 years, and the last bids we received were in April 2010. However, interest rates continue to be very depressed. In fact, they're more depressed than they were in 2010 when we bid. And that's usually the only differentiation between the banks is the interest they're going to pay, because they don't charge us anything for services. And it costs money for us to change banks. We have a lot of software that has to be reprogrammed. We now have check depositing machines in all of the after-school program schools, and so we're recommending that we stay with Pinnacle Bank. And we've gotten good service from them. They're a Georgia bank, and that's it.
All right.
Any questions?
All right. Moving on. Item C, Mr. Barr.
Item C relates to furniture for the replacement at Newton High School. The superintendent recommends selected furniture and equipment needed for the replacement high school be purchased from Contracts Furnishings of Gainesville, Florida. A summary follows. The furniture will include classroom furniture, administration furniture, cafeteria, computer, media center, and outdoor furnishings. The total expenditure is $2,768,332.93, and that will be paid for using capital funds.
All right, any questions? All right, I think you've got item D also.
Item D relates to diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline. The superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline awarded to Petroleum Traders Corporation of Fort Wayne, Indiana, be renewed for an additional contract period. Effective date being February 28, 13, and the expiration date being February 27, 14. Estimated contract value is $982,384.
All right, questions? Item E.
Item E relates to surplus property. The superintendent recommends declaring the items on the attached surplus form as no longer serviceable to the school system and authorizing for the appropriate disposal of such. Property includes items from Fairview Elementary, Mansfield, Middle Ridge, Oak Hill, and Rocky Plains.
All right, are there any questions?
I have one about item C. I should have asked.
We're way past that.
I know we are. Where did, and it's probably really simple, and it may be one we've used. Where have we used Contracts Furnishings?
No, we haven't. In the past, we've tried to put it together ourselves, and this company offers a solution using some nationally
So how did we learn about
contracts,
them?
through industry, other school systems using them, primarily in Florida. A lot of school systems are using them there.
Okay.
All right, any further questions? Then I believe we are finished with you, Mr. Ball.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Shattuck, I believe you have item F.
Dr. Matthews, Madam Chairwoman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Item F deals with the equipment needed to move into the Network Operations Center. The superintendent recommends the acceptance of the bid from Infinity Network Solutions for the necessary cabling equipment installation of $68,858. The background information is that the construction of the Network Operations Center is complete. The technology department is in the process of planning for the installation of the cabling and equipment necessary to make this facility operational. The implementation of this stage of the overall project will take weeks to complete. It is a very complicated move because of the many interconnected functions that will be completed while not taking down these functionalities during the school hours. Much of our work will be done on the weekend as a result. We have studied this problem for months and have developed a plan to make this happen. The cabling, equipment, and installation cost for this project was part of the school system's E-rate application in 2010. The original cost of this project was $312,991, but the Newton County share is only 22% of that, or $68,858. The cost of this project will be shared equally between the Technology Department funds and the capital project funds.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chaddock. All right, Ms. Lumens, I believe you have G and H.
Good evening. Item G, the superintendent recommends the purchase of electronic door security system for 15 schools from Infinity Network Solutions of Macon, Georgia. The list of schools is attached in the background information. The cost includes electronic locks on 3 doors at each school, software to operate the system, and 75 fobs or electronic keys for each school. This connects with an existing system utilized by the school system, and it is a sole source purchase. Estimated cost is $142,175. This will come out of operating funds.
All right.
By the way,
Questions?
this came, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Turner were present. This came out of our collaboration with our principals and central office staff following the Connecticut tragedy. I do want to comment that we are doing everything that is feasible to protect our students from such a tragedy. This is one example of that. Tomorrow, hundreds of brochures go out. Sheriff Davis Vendors put together with Jan's work a very good explanation of parents as to our crisis management efforts in the school system. So it's a brochure that every parent will want to read. Additionally, as you know, the ViewPath Safe Pilot at Newton High School also gives us another level of possible security. Should SPLOS pass, that's an option for the school board. So we are doing what certainly is feasible for us, including spending monies for greater security in our public schools. So I want to make that comment known.
All right, any other?
I wanted to comment. Was this budgeted, or is it just we have to take care out of it?
It was not budgeted, but it is coming out of our budgeted dollars. We're just allocating dollars to this rather than somewhere else.
Okay.
Some of our summer work will have to be reduced to cover this cost.
Summer work.
We always do improvements and repairs to schools during the summer when the students aren't there. Mm-hmm. And that work is determined based on how much we have left in our budget toward the end of the school year, how much we can spend in the summer to do painting of hallways or, just normal improvements that we would do. So this is being allocated from those dollars.
Okay, thank you. I have no real issue with the putting this in, don't get me wrong. But I think we got a couple of projects that's going for potential ViewPass coming on. And I think if we coordinate those efforts, because the infrastructure of the wirings was concerned me, is that we may have an opportunity to save, I don't know how far we are away on ViewPath, for example, in the Newton High School. And if we're going to do it in another school in a progressive way, that the wiring we could do simultaneously if these efforts are coordinated. For an example, if we're running a piece of wire from the telephone room down to a door, 500 feet, we could save at least 60% of labor on the next wire run by doing it simultaneously, if we can coordinate those efforts. I don't know how far we're away on that. And I guess Dr. Shudder can bring us up to speed on what I'm trying to get across here.
No, please.
The work on the new Newton High School work will be done first with ViewPath. And we'll be bringing to the board next month a proposal to do that, plus the other equipment that's going into the new high school. So that it'll be a total package, and you'll be able to look exactly what equipment we're put in there. The other ViewPass systems for the other schools is dependent upon the SPLOS passing on March 19th. And so we have to wait until that time to see whether there'll be funds available to do the view path in the other schools.
Okay, we're gonna do the Newton High School.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we're also going to, are the doors going, is already included in the cost of construction with this project here at Newton High School?
The doors at the new Newton High School were part of the construction of the technology infrastructure for that school. So those things are being wired while we're wiring the building.
Okay, that was my question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any further questions? Then I guess we will move on to H.
Item H, the superintendent recommends carbon monoxide sensors for all schools be purchased from and installed by Automated Logic Corporation of Kennesaw, Georgia. The carbon monoxide sensors will be, the background information is that the carbon monoxide sensors will be linked to the fire and intrusion alarm panel in the front office of each school. Maintenance and operations personnel will be notified upon detection of potentially harmful levels of carbon dioxide. The monitoring system that will be installed is consistent with a carbon monoxide detector advisory sent by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs in December 2012. As the sensors connect to an existing system utilized by the school system, this is a sole source purchase, and the estimated cost is $97,500. This is a safety issue and a school building improvement issue.
The cost is going to follow the same path as you suggested earlier?
Yes.
It's going to come out of already budgeted items?
Yes, sir.
Jan,
I guess my next question is, will we get a list of those things that are going to be sacrificed that will get these things installed?
There's no way to give you a list of things that will be sacrificed. What we do is prioritize projects in April and May, depending on the budget dollars that we have left. These two projects are for school safety and school improvement, so it's not sacrificing projects, it's just shifting money to a different project. The summer work is usually painting and
like lockers.
lockers
repair,
or just different things, just routine maintenance. Some of the stuff we may have to do in-house, or it may have to wait until next summer to be done. That's a typical plan every year, depending on our expenses.
And isn't there a piece of legislation that's been introduced that's going to require all schools to have carbon monoxide
There is, yes.
monitors? Thank you.
So Jan, on G and H, you may have said this, or it may be written in there, I can't see it. Will that cover the central office too? Those two, the monoxide and
The
the?
carbon monoxide will, the door system is already here.
Okay,
We already
gotcha,
have
okay.
that door system here.
Okay.
I have one question. With our existing intrusion alarm panel and fire, who's that company with? Who are we with that company?
Well, our fire panel,
And the reason I'm asking that
yeah.
question, I just want to make sure that this company has some guarantee that this system will work with our existing system.
It will work with our existing system. We have already worked with our current vendors to make sure that it does,
Okay.
yes.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item I believe I'm supposed to introduce this. At least that is me. Georgia School Board Association has asked that we make any additions, deletions, or amendments to their positions. These will be voted on during their summer conference. And so you have attached to, in SharePoint, a copy of their positions. And so we just need to let them know if we have any changes, additions, or whatnot, and we'll let them know by having a voting on it next week. So if you will all review that and let us know, I guess just let us know, let us know by next week so we can discuss that. All right, let's see. Item J as me also. This relates to the summer conference again for Georgia School Board Association. We need to have a delegate and an alternate delegate to attend and vote on behalf of the board. So please start thinking about who should be our delegate and alternate delegate. All right, any questions? Not, item K, I'll turn it over to Dr. Matthews.
Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I recommend that you approve recommendations as offered in executive session tonight.
All right, so I have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it passes, and other matters of interest.
I have one. I just want to commend Dr. Thomas and Mr. Sauls, their staff, on what they did for the student, the Fighting for Jonah. Student. Yeah, that was very, very touching. And I just, I'm glad to see that we have administrators, staff, students, even students that stand behind good causes. So
I wholeheartedly agree on that, and I wish him the best. One other thing, I do want to say that Dr. Matthews this morning had his last superintendent forum. Did a fabulous job.
Thank you very much. Samantha, thank you.
Yes, Samantha, you did a great job also. Shaquila and I've seen it. All right, without any further ado, I will adjourn. Thank you.
All right. You will see the president speaking now.
Sorry.
Is that what now?